It's not even 24 hours since we pulled the MX-5 engine. I'm joined by my little friend here. He's going to help us pull the RX7 engine because yesterday I met someone and he's willing to take the whole RX7 for a crazy price, so I couldn't really refuse. Like I said, we're keeping everything transparent money-wise on this build. So at the end of the video, we'll give you guys a full update of where we are price-wise, what we spent, what we sold, and how much we're actually in the baby RX7 build for. But yeah, today's video is essentially pulling the RX7 engine. I've already raised the rear. I'm going to raise the front now. We can take off the bonnet, drain every fluid, unbolt everything, and get it all stripped out. I've never pulled a Rotary 12A before, so it's the first for me, and this is an Alpha Turbo, and it's carbs. There's probably a rat's nest of wires and vacuum lines. But let's just figure it out together. Oh, look at him, he's so cute. He's definitely not going to help me. But, you know, I can pretend like he is. Once again, like I said, I have no clue what I'm doing, so let's just figure it out. So let's have a look underneath. Yeah, not a whole lot going on. It's just surface rust, really. You can't really see a lot from under here, so let's just go into the engine bay, start pulling it apart. Figure out what we're going to keep. The guy's only buying the shell, no wheels, so keep that in mind. If you want to see the full price of what he bought it for, how much we've made on the car, how much these wheels go for, because that's like a crazy money maker on this car, watch till the end of the video when we discuss the full costs and everything that's cost so far. Let's just hop into the engine. I'm really excited to do this. First ever time working on a 12A, or a Rotary for that matter, and it's a carb turbo, so I'm really keen to see how that system works. Let's get the bonnet off, get the fluids drained, and start pulling the engine. Once again, I know I haven't really spoken much about the engine. This is essentially a 12A Rotary carb turbo. So here is the carb. It is a draw-through carb. There's the turbo. So there's no intercooler, no nothing like that. There is an oil cooler that's dragging on the floor somewhere. I don't know if you can see it through all of that. Long story short, the carb sucks in the air, mixes the fuel, it goes straight through the turbo and then into the intake. So we can get rid of this whole intake box, make the whole engine look super clean. I'll throw up some photos that I've used before to show like you can get a 12A Alpha Turbo looking clean, and then eventually we might even fabricate our own like manifold, because you'll see the Alpha Turbo one is cast and I think we can make a better one. I think where we'll start on this is essentially stripping off the air intake, the air box, maybe the carb system, the turbo system, get off all the ancillaries. I'm going to leave the dizzy in. I say this as if I don't still need to drain the radiator, get the radiator out, drain the oil, drain the transmission, because we are pulling the transmission as well as the engine. So maybe we should start with that, and then we can start stripping the bits off the engine that are actually fun. Yeah, I think it's a really cool engine. 12A carb turbo, it's super simple. It will work perfectly in the MX-5, super simple to wire up and drop in. And because it's a 12A, the actual engine mount, which I'll show you a bit later, is on the front of the engine. So essentially making a custom engine mount for the MX-5 should be a piece of piss. But yeah, let's do the mundane, annoying jobs, draining things, pulling out the radiator, stuff like that, and then we can actually have some fun. Yeah, once again, I have no clue what I'm doing. So I removed the radiator hoses, drained the coolant, removed this top part of the radiator thing, expecting there to be an AC condenser, but there's nothing there. I'm gonna try to get this radiator and fan shroud out together, but I don't know how well that's gonna work. So we'll give that a go now, and we'll kind of just take it from there. Because I think once this is out the way, it will give us a bunch more space then, and then we'll be able to actually look at things and be like, okay, I'm gonna take that out next. But yeah, radiator, fan shroud, let's get that out. Okay, this is not going as like quick as the MX-5. I think this probably will take 2 days just because I don't know what the I'm doing. But we got the radiator out. It was super crusty, but it has given us a lot more space. Now I think I can take these brackets out. I don't need them. I might take them out just for space in the engine, so when we remove it we can swing the transmission out a lot easier. But I think we probably, do we even need to take the fan off? I'm sure we can pull it with the fan on. It might give us a bit more room if I take it off. If it's like the Datsun and it's only like a few bolts, yeah, it looks like it might be. I might as well just take it off. Let's have a look. I'll come back once I know what I'm actually doing. I was thinking maybe I take off the oil. I literally do not know where to start. I mean, I was thinking oil cooler next, but bro, first of all, this is what's holding my oil cooler up, this blue thing. What are these? Oh, let it focus. What are those? How am I getting these off? These just with a spanner maybe? I don't know. You know what I do know though? The air intake can come off, so let's remove that because it will be fun. Let's remove it. It'll also give us a better view of like all the wiring and stuff, because I think there's like a main harness clip in this corner here that I can remove, and then instead of pulling each and every wire off the engine, it will just come out together. So let's get the intake off, maybe try find that harness. Once again, I'm completely guessing what we're doing. Let's just give it a go, eh? Clip, 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 clip. That was quite satisfying, to be fair. This is actually in really nice condition. Even the air filter seems sound. Yeah, let's just get this off. Oh. You see, this is where the carb intake is, so we can actually remove this, then run in the MX-5 a custom filter that will come off here, and then go to a pod filter. So I think they're just loads of Allen keys, so I'll grab these out, grab this off, and then you can actually have a look at the turbo and the actual intake manifold. It's a full Alpha turbo kit, so it's quite cool. Just grab all this off, have a look at it. We stripped off the intake and exposed the carbs. Let's go through the carb quickly. It is similar to an SU. I thought it was an SU. It probably is an SU, just a different type of SU, which sounds stupid, but long story short, it's slightly different to the Datsun. I might end up just switching it for the one that's in the Datsun. But here we go. It is pretty much, looks exactly the same as an SU. I assume this is the choke. Obviously, here is the throttle cable, and throttle linkage is on the other side here. Now, the only thing that I found weird was this. Why is there two lines? First of all, they're flexible, so I have no clue what they do, and they both run into one pipe. I'm thinking, should we strip off the carb, the actual turbo? I can't believe it, man. Turbo rotary, so cool, and it's got a carb, and the intake, just to free up some space, because it looks pretty simple. And then obviously here's your downpipe back here, but it looks pretty simple. And I think if we actually remove it, we might just free up a lot more space, and also pulling the engine would be a whole lot easier, because usually I think the carbs are like mounted up here, but obviously because it's the Alpha Turbo conversion, it's there. So I think removing it, getting the manifold off and stuff like that, one, it'll let me learn it in the car and how it all kind of goes together, and two, it will just be easier to remove the engine without it in the way, because we don't have to really smacking it across here. So let's get this all removed. I feel like I know what I'm doing here, kind of. At least we'll be moving one step in the right direction. So that, I assume, is the turbo oil feed. Now there should be a return, but it doesn't seem like there is one. Get that out the way. What's this? This? What is that? Do you know what I mean? What even is that? Okay, I'm giving you a wider view. So this banjo bolt was here for whatever reason, I have no clue. This line went to the carb here, just a normal vacuum line. Goes into this box thing, no clue what that does. The oil feed went here. The throttle cables and stuff, no clue how these are attached. My fuel line here, which runs all the way around. So this is the inlet, which sits on the bottom side of the carb here. Okay, here are those two lines. Now what do? They run along the engine, they run down and into, are they just vacuum lines? There's no way that Mazda have put two vacuum lines together. They run into the carb here, and then they run down, follow it down, across there, down into here. What the hell are they? Should I just pull them? Oh, I just pulled them. Oh, were they connectors? Or were they just lines? They were just vacuum lines. They just went into these two little lines down here. I have no clue what they're used for, or if we can just block them off. The thing, because this engine's so old, there's so much stuff that isn't needed. I'm really wary of just pulling them apart. But as long as I have this video as a reference, so this video is probably gonna be super long. But like, yeah, what are those two lines for? If you know, please let me know in the comments, because I have no clue what this engine is like, how it's put together, or anything. So it's pretty much a guessing game. Oh, gotta loosen this. Put this through here. See, this is why I like carbs. Just so simple. No like electronic throttle, no nothing. Just straight wire and a little screw as an adjuster. There we go. So that will stay on there now. So that is throttle cables disconnected, vacuum line, vacuum line, vacuum line, fuel line, banjo bolt. This still baffles me. Okay, so let's change up the camera angle because this one's kind of boring now, and I'm sure you're probably sick of watching me undo bits and bolts, but there's a few manifold bolts here. I'm going to see if I can try and get them undone. I'll get a different angle on it, and oh, I've got to remove this as well. No clue what it does, where it goes. It goes into the actual intake manifold itself, so I'm not sure what it does. Let's grab this out though. There we go. Oh, it's got like a brake fitting on the end. Carb off. Nice. Wouldn't they be? Carb fully out, so there you go. It's a weird looking carb, but maybe it has to be this way because, well no, it's not holding any kind of boost, so it could be any carb on this. So, oh, we could actually put a triple Weber on there. So what I'm going to do is unbolt the 4 bolts holding the exhaust manifold in. What the hell is this? Why is it a bolt with two things? One, I've got something in my eye. I got some rust in my eye underneath the car and doing manifold bolts. And two, let me grab that bolt. Here are the 2 bolts that I got. One from the top. You can see it's got a nut on it. If it'll focus. It has a nut on it and then a bolt. One from the bottom. It's got a nut on it. And a bolt. The other one from the bottom, just a nut. So I assume that these are studs, which it looks like they are, because if you have a look there, there's that little bit there where they're not, what's it called, not threaded. And I assume that these are supposed to be exhaust studs, not bolts. I guess I'm just gonna have to replace all the studs in the engine, which is perfectly fine because it'll be on a stand anyway and I can fully rebuild it. But I'm hoping, it looks like, they look about the same size and they also don't look snapped. So I'm assuming that these bolts just got rusted on here on the exhaust so much that now I've taken them out, they've just pulled out the whole stud. So hopefully ARP or someone like that do some nice stud replacements and I can just go all anodized studs. That would be quite cool. But this I was not expecting. So this is just something else to note. Since this one came out as a bolt. So after almost breaking my neck, I've got like a massive strain down my neck. Oh my god, I undid all the lower intake bolts and I managed to get out the downpipe. I don't really know, it's got like a vacuum activated thing on it. I'll quickly show you on the car. So I managed to get out all these lower manifold bolts and then the exhaust slash downpipe, and that's where the manifold thing attaches to. As you see on it, it says like Elford, so I assume this is all part of the Elford turbo system, so I assume we're going to have to keep most of that. No clue though, so now I should have maybe enough room to wiggle out this bottom part of the turbo intake manifold. Or at least that's what I'm hoping will happen. I have no clue, so let's just do it, because I've been doing this for way too long. Turbo. Oh my god! I don't think you realise how long I was struggling to get this out, but I'm glad we have. full Alford turbo, exhaust manifold, turbo manifold, downpipe, and then I've got the actual downpipe over there. But now we've got the intake to get out. So much more to do. I've been struggling on this car. It's my first time working on it, to be fair. I have no clue what the fuck I'm doing. But yeah, I'm glad we got that out. That's a big part of the engine done. That was so annoying. Everything was super rusty. I have no WD-40. Like, honestly, I'm doing this whole... I could go to the shop and go get some. And I'm probably going to split some bolts, maybe, by not using it. But, yeah, I've done everything without using WD-40. I think it's Milwaukee time. Milwaukee, please sponsor me. All honesty, if Milwaukee actually sponsored me, I will put their logo on my red Datsun. That would be good. I honestly, I would do that. Yeah, that gasket's cooked. Also, what the f is this? Do you see that? Ugh! I don't like that. What is that? I don't like that. It feels horrible. That actually feels horrible. Also, my gasket's cooked, but that is horrible. That is like, oh, I don't want to be touching this anymore. It's all gunked up. What is this? Oh, yeah, okay. Well, engine is going to need a bit more work. Ugh. I think the seals were supposed to seal these, and these are maybe coolant passages, but they are just like full of shit. Look at that. That's not good. That one's completely full as well. So I think before we put it in the MX-5, yeah, I mean, I've had this running and driving only a few times. I don't drive it for like more than 30 seconds if I'm just moving the car. I assume they're coolant passages, and I assume they're supposed to be like free and like have coolant flowing through them. Yeah, it's just pissing out. It's kind of grim, to be fair. Maybe I should put a bucket under it. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. When I tell you those little like those rubber gaskets felt like they were moving. I don't know how to. Oh, it was grim, bro. I touch like some grim things and eat some grim things just as a joke, but that was actually horrible. Once again, we're on this side now. We're looking at wiring. I have no clue what any of these wires do, but this looks like a main harness loom. So I think I'm going to unplug this one. I don't know if you can see it. It's huge. Okay, so I've had a look at the actual harness itself. I'll take you a quick walk around of what I understand the harness to be. The main thing we need is like ignition, power, sensors, clutch something, I don't fucking know. Jump in here. So we've got obviously ignition. So we need to keep all of this, correct? All of this stuff I want to keep as well. It looks like the only kind of wires, a lot of some of these sensors and stuff, they all seem to run to that main block harness clip connector thing there. So we are going to disconnect that there and then keep all this on the engine. Same with this. We're going to disconnect this here, keep all this with the engine. The only other wire that I see is towards the clutch, which is this one. So I'll search this one afterwards and figure out what that does. The other thing that goes to it, the clutch cable. I assume this is a clutch cable. I'm not entirely sure. So the clutch cable and the clutch stuff I'm just going to leave there, and then once we pull the engine I'll figure it out. The rest of the stuff here that goes into that clip there, we're going to disconnect and keep with the engine. Same with the Dizzy, same with this, and obviously we're thinking, okay, well, where does this get its power from? Because we're going to need to keep that, the ECU and stuff like that. So you follow all these wires back, they swoop around there past the oil cooler, and they all end up, sorry, it's a bit sunny now, over here in this sort of general area. So when I have a look at this general area, we've got all these connectors and stuff, and this like block of I don't even know what, but we are going to keep all this, disconnect it here forward, because I think here forward is just for the lights, which also means we need to keep this, which I assume is the main harness. So we're going to pull all this all the way through to the back there, but for the time being what we're going to do is we're going to disconnect as much as we can here to pull the engine and keep everything intact. And then once the engine is out the way, what we can do is pull the rest of the harness, pull the throttle cable, the choke cable, the actual choke itself, and any other like miscellaneous wires and stuff. But for the time being, I think what I'm going to do is get all these connectors off, get the Dizzy and stuff taken off, strap it all to the engine, so when we pull the engine it all comes out as one. I also need to disconnect the slave cylinder, I'm pretty sure, because I don't want to like break it off when we pull the transmission. And it is now 5:32, so the sun's going to start to set, so the filming I'm doing isn't going to be the best because the sun's like going to be directly on me because it sets over there. So I'll try film as much as possible. I'm mainly just going to be doing connectors, electrics, stuff like that. So I'll probably film all the satisfying clicks of the electric connectors, and then we'll reconvene tomorrow when we can actually unbolt like the transmission braces, the engine braces, the engine mounts, sorry, the slave cylinder, stuff like that, and actually try pull the engine. What the hell? Why are they so long? Oh, look at that. I don't even have to disconnect anything. Let's get this out of the way. It should. Let's see how it's come out. Look at that. It's like a nice little water bottle. Might give it to the dog. That one. Once again, wires, like these wires were attached to it, so no clue what they do. Yesterday I did a bunch of wiring stuff, like disconnecting the ECU, pulling through a few cables, stuff like that. Nothing too crazy. I also took my hair out my braids and it just went nuts every time I do it. It just, yeah, it goes f***ing nuts, so ignore that. Overall, I hope to actually get everything done today and to pull the engine. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull the engine separate to the gearbox and then drop the gearbox afterwards, so it just seems easier that way. So without further ado, let's just get cracked on. So pretty much I got really annoyed, realised that I hadn't actually pulled out half of the wire harness that I needed, and the ECU that I pulled, I'm not sure if it is an ECU, because, right, everyone says on the 12A FBEs, the ECU should be under that floor pan, under here, and there should be like a panel that you can unbolt and then your ECU will be behind it. Well, I have nothing there, and then this is all that solid that you can't get rid of, and then on the other side I have nothing there as well. However, under the dash I had this. Oh, so I assumed this is the ECU, so I took this, and then I tried to undo all the wiring, and yeah, that kind of pissed me off because I hate wiring. And then I just thought to myself, well, if I'm going standalone ECU and making a custom harness, and half of the stuff on this engine I actually don't need because it's for a 12, like it's for an FB and like all them sensors and all that, if I go standalone everything, I actually don't need the wiring harness. So after that revelation, I found something, because I've been using my standers the whole time to undo wires and stuff. I found these. And then I went a bit insane and I was like, well, I don't need the full wiring harness, but you know what, I might as well keep all the relays and stuff, which I don't think there's actually any need for me to keep them if I'm going full custom harness and ECU and all of that. But I just started cutting things. And yeah, now I cut off this, I cut off that. I have no clue what they do, where they go, but I'm just gonna start cutting things. I cut off this, no clue. I'm just gonna start cutting all the wires, and oh well, the next owner can have the half-cut wiring harness. He thought I was gonna take the whole harness, everything, so I'm sure it's not gonna be any stress. I left intact the main stuff, like stuff that goes to the lights and stuff, so that's all reusable. But anything to the engine, I'm just cutting. Because then at that point, at least everything will still be attached to the engine, and then I can kind of just be like, okay, that does that, I'm going to need one of these. I don't know, I'm sure there's enough information online. Actually, I'm not sure, but I cannot be bothered with wires anymore. So I'm going to get all the wires off, undo all the transmission bolts, take off this fan here, And then once that's all off, the engine is pretty much ready to pull. This has been quite a long video, but it has been quite a long process. I have no clue what I'm actually doing, if I've actually done anything correctly, but I guess we're going to find out when we put it in the MX-5. This is the thing, that once we put it in the MX-5, we're making a fully custom harness. It should be fine. Obviously I've kept all like the dizzy and the ignition coil and stuff like that. So I've had a look around the engine. The only two things that I can see holding the engine to the gearbox, obviously all the transmission bolts, is this wire here and this wire here. Everything else seems to be disconnected. All the dizzy and stuff, that's all disconnected from here. All the wires going to it, they're all disconnected. This side is the messiest side. All of this stuff is self-enclosed on the engine. It doesn't seem like there's any other wires. Obviously the oil cooler, but I'll just bungee cord the oil cooler to this. I'm not going to take this fan off, so I have this much room to pull an engine that's this big. I think everything on this side is disconnected bar those two grounds and all the transmission bolts. This side looks completely empty. So obviously you had some wires and stuff, I cut all of them. You had everything that was on the intake and exhaust side, and I'm pretty sure it's all gone. Like all these pipes, these are all disconnected. These all went to like the intake and stuff anyways. So I'm pretty sure it's ready to pull. About those two grounds and the transmission bolts. So I'm gonna razz all of those off and this thing will be ready to pull out. So we'll cut to when I've done that and getting the engine crane, pulling it out finally. The wiring, I've just given up on. I'm just gonna make a fully custom harness. So off camera I removed this starter motor because it was under the car. I disconnected the clutch cable and then you seen I removed that one hose. Now everything is fully disconnected so we can actually pull the engine. So let's cut when we've got the engine crane, and you'll probably watch me pull the engine and then you'll probably just see the transmission out because it's all under the car. The only thing that I can really film is disconnecting the shifter, and there's not really a point in me doing that. But anyway, let's grab the engine crane and pull this engine. So yeah, we pulled the engine out. It is right here. We're going to get it on a stand, get it cleaned up. I'm going to clean up all the intake and exhaust manifold, get them all bolted up, make it look nice, and kind of decide what to do with all the wiring. So I think I'm going to strip it off. Anyway, that's a job for Lemmy. I've already unbolted everything inside the car. I'll quickly show you. So obviously shifter, everything is out. You can see it there. I just put all this back after the guy that's coming to buy the car. I'm not unbolting the drive shaft or anything because apparently it just slides out. So I guess we're going to find out. All that's left now is to unbolt the actual transmission mounts themselves, and once we've done that it should just come out, theoretically, hopefully, ideally, I don't know. I guess we're going to find out right now. See, it's that part of the episode again where we discuss all the costs that we're in on the build. I think last time we were negative £1,010, and at the start of this episode we said we sold the car, we provisionally sold the wheels, so we'll start with negative £1,010. Also, after we've gone through this breakdown, we'll have a look at the actual engine on the crane itself because it's so cool. We've given it a good clean up, and so we'll run through it and show you how everything works. It's just a super cool engine. So at negative £1,010, we sold the RX7, no engine, no gearbox, no harness, no wheels, for, mind you, we bought the car for £1,500. We sold it for £1,500. So right now I think we're up £490 on the build. And then we've also provisionally sold the wheels for £800. So we have essentially got an engine, a gearbox, part of a harness, an ECU from a Rotary Turbo RX7, so a turbo rotary, all for, I think, let me do the maths in my head quickly, gets out the calculator. I'm gonna leave that in. I think for £1,290 we are up. And obviously all that money's probably gonna get spent because we gotta buy stuff for the MX-5, get some fabrication work done and stuff like that. But as you can see, we've already broke even on the RX7, so we are into the build for pretty much no money. And right here, we have obviously gearboxes over there. Rotary Turbo engine. It's so amazing. Let's go through the engine itself, pull the camera up close so you guys can have a look. and then we'll end that video there. And like I said in the MX-5 video, the next episode will probably be me messing about with a bunch of my other cars. So after that, probably the Datsun timing chain, which we're going to take off the head, redo the head, everything. I'm just going to do it all properly because it's the Datsun and it's really easy to do. And then after that, we'll be dropping this engine into the MX-5, sorting the wiring, getting it running and driving, and having Dorito carb-powered turbo MX-5. So yeah, I'm going to leave the episode there. We're going to show you around the engine, just some nice cinematics, or just me waffling. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Obviously check out inzane.com, there's some clothes on there if you're interested. Let's just have a look at this engine because it's cool as fuck. Alright, so now that the engine is actually out of the car, we can actually have a good look at it. Obviously here you go, here's the Alpha Turbo intake manifold and the exhaust manifold down here, which turns into your turbo manifold. Here is the turbo itself, and as I mentioned, it's a draw-through carb system. So you got the carb here, goes straight into the turbo, from the turbo into the engine. And obviously it is a beautiful 12A rotary. Now I just think rotaries look amazing, man. Just look at it. Just what a cool car with the turbo strapped on the side. So you've got the Dizzy because it's a 12A. I just think that this engine looks so cool. We give it a good clean up so it looks all nice. Pretty much free. We got this engine and gearbox and made some money off it. There you go. Just a beautiful, cool engine. Of course, we are going to fully rebuild it and stuff, but that'll come at a later date. We're going to get it dropped into the car and stuff first. And get it running and driving, then we'll do a full overhaul, rebuild, Bridgeport. We're going to be Bridgeporting it ourselves because it's super simple to do. Just get a Dremel, start drilling out on the rotor faces. Not the rotor faces, I don't even know what it's called. I'm just looking forward to it. And overall, it's just cool, man. Just look at it, bro. It's so small, but it sounds so good and looks sick as I'm just really excited, man. Dream engine. Dream setup on this engine as well, to be fair. I don't think I could have picked anything cooler. Like carb, turbo, it's just a bit of me. What else can I say? Also, check this out. So obviously, I think I showed you guys this earlier in the episode. This is the Alpha Turbo like exhaust system. So obviously you got your downpipe here from the back of the turbo. Well, there's your downpipe and it goes onto there. So we can actually just run a screamer, which I'm probably gonna do. This, I'm pretty sure, is a vacuum actuated wastegate. Am I tripping, or is that correct? So I asked you guys what it was, but after having a look at it, obviously the turbo system probably has a wastegate system, no? And I just looked at it and I was like, oh my god, this could actually be vacuum activated wastegate, which I thought was extremely cool. On that note, I'm going to leave the episode there because this one has been a long one. Come back for next episode where we'll be doing some random shit. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.